welcome back. This is Don't Watch at Night, a spooky little podcast dedicated to Latin American and Spanish language horror. I'm your host, Valerie.
And I'm Veronica.
Happy New Year at the time that you're listening to this. It's not the New Year yet for us, but
it's around the corner.
Yeah.
2026.
Ron, I actually have not talked to you since we heard from you much since we went on break. So how was Christmas for you guys?
It was nice. I mean, just here at home. Yeah. Christmas came so fast this year. I never really felt like I didn't watch a single Christmas movie. It just came and went so fast. And so I didn't really ever feel in the Christmas
You didn't even do National Lampoons?
No, didn't get around to any of it. But we did watch, something. What did we watch? We did watch Klaus.
Klaus, yeah. However you say it, yeah. The kids watched that one. Yeah, it snuck up on us as well. It was just the kids got out on the 19th, and then it was just like, boom, 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 time to get ready for Christmas. And so, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of time to really soak in the season. And now here we are.
At the time, it didn't help that it was close to 80 degrees on Christmas here in Texas.
It was like 80 degrees on Christmas Day. It was obscene. We are supposed to be getting some cold weather, I think, coming in tonight, in our area at least. We're days away, at the time of this recording, we're days away from New Year. Happy to be starting the first of our recordings for 2026. And I'm trying to think, did anything interesting happen over? I talked about it on the Christmas special that we released Christmas week, but you may not have heard it. Veronica, the two oldest, finally watched Krampus, and they really enjoyed it. And so over the holiday break, I found them their very own Krampus bells. So they have Krampus bells now. Yeah. I deliberately unboxed them and then just left them on the porch. And then I was like, guys, you got to go check out the porch. There's something there. And they go and they check it out. And there's just these bells there on the porch. And the oldest was like, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I mean, they thought it was funny. They appreciated the funniness of it.
I don't remember Krampus bells. What is that?
At the end of the movie, Krampus, how the boy is gifted a bell at the end of that. Well, that makes me sad because if you go and you listen to our Christmas special, we specifically talk about that. Like at the end of it, it's all been a dream, and he gets a Krampus bell, and it sort of serves as a warning to keep the spirit of Christmas alive, lest Krampus return. It's a good one. It's a good one. So they watched it, but because they're 13 and 11, it still freaked them out plenty. All right. Well, anything else to report?
No, I haven't done
Have you been on a break from instructing, or what's been going on?
Just a few days. I taught yesterday and this morning. The studio was just closed Christmas Eve and Christmas.
Yeah.
But I have had the time off from my 8 to 7:30 to 4 p.m. job,
which has been nice. This week, where are my notes? Today, we're talking about 2011's dark fantasy horror called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Now, it premiered at festivals in 2010, but it didn't have U.S. release until 2011. It's directed by Troy Nixey. FYI, it was his feature film debut. It was written by Guillermo del Toro and Matthew Robbins, which, by the way, pause, because this is my chance to sort of tell people what we're doing. So, guys, the movie that we're talking about, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, is a English language film. It's just worth noting that one of the things that Veronica and I really want to try to do in 2026 is broaden our net. So we're still going to be covering Spanish language horror. That's a cornerstone of this podcast. But we also want to make sure that we're highlighting films and works that have Latine voices represented. So in this case, Guillermo del Toro was a co-writer on this film, as well as a producer. So you're just going to see more films like that. We're going to do Spanish language as often as we can, just in the name of broadening our net and making other films accessible to this podcast. That's what we're doing. So yeah, like I said, Del Toro served as a producer on this film as well. He co-wrote it with Matthew Robbins. It stars Katie Holmes, Guy Pearce, and Bailee Madison. It also has Jack Thompson, who plays Harris, and Julia Blake, who plays the housekeeper / cook, this poor woman who's just overseeing one crisis after another in this movie. Okay, let's see what else. I'm going to give a little synopsis, and just keep in mind as we go forward with this episode, there will be spoilers. If you haven't watched this movie, do go watch it. Here's a synopsis off of Rotten Tomatoes. It says, lonely and introverted, young Sally has just arrived at the 19th century mansion that her father and his girlfriend are restoring. While exploring the sprawling estate, Sally discovers a hidden, long undisturbed basement. Unwittingly, she unleashes a race of malevolent, dark-dwelling creatures who intend to drag her down into the mansion's bottomless depths. This is a remake, by the way, of the 1973 made-for-TV movie of the same name. It's currently available on Amazon Prime, and it has a runtime of about an hour, 39 minutes or so. Veronica, give us your initial take after having watched this movie.
Oh, yeah, I liked it. And I can certainly see Guillermo del Toro's fingerprints on this, because it did have, I wouldn't say fairy tale vibe, but it kind of had that like fable vibe to it. So I could definitely see his handprint. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. It did have some moments that I thought could have been expanded upon or clarified a little bit better. But overall, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it as well. And I agree. You can totally see Del Toro's hand at play here. One thing to note about Troy Nixey is he's a comic book graphic artist turned director. So I could
see this as a graphic novel.
Well, and
I don't remember hearing about this coming out in 2011.
Neither do
I. Do you remember? Okay.
I know, but I mean, like, that was also 2011. Like that, it's entirely possible it could have fallen off my radar. It was a long time ago. It could have totally fallen off my radar. And honestly, based on the resources that we looked at, that we share for you guys in show notes, it's entirely possible that a lot of people slept on this. One of the reasons was because I think initially, Ron, they were going for a PG-13 rating. And at the time, censors or what have you were like, any movie that had any kind of, even a hint of depiction of violence towards children, automatic R rating, which you can kind of understand. But because of the R rating, Troy Nixey, the director, in interviews has said that he kind of worries that it missed its target audience of younger people.
To imagine this had an R rating.
I know. And we'll get to it, because there were definitely moments where I felt like this could easily be a children's film.
I know. It was like, it wasn't
maybe change out a few things, but it could easily be a kid's film.
It wasn't even really scary, I don't think. It was, kind of almost like gothic-y.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's not a word, gothic-y, but I just made it a word.
Totally, when you look at the house that they're in. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not going to lie to you, I was a little dissatisfied with the ending. But I also, when I went and looked at, by the way, did you ever see this made-for-TV movie in 1973? Okay.
I never heard of this title.
Okay.
In any format.
Apparently, Guillermo del Toro was very much influenced by this movie that he saw as a child, and he was just like, oh my God. He felt compelled to remake this at some point. As dissatisfied as I was with the ending, it is largely in keeping with the original ending. So, staying true to the source material, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but the original one, from what I read, didn't have a child, right?
There wasn't
the wife or the ex-wife. I don't know what the relationship was, but it was an adult woman.
Yeah, there were some modifications on this reboot, and I think they were important changes that they made, and we'll discuss why. Let's see. Just to set you guys up, if you haven't seen this movie yet, and if you haven't, you should really stop listening and go watch it and then come back and listen, because it's a good movie. But I guess just to set you up with the opening actually takes place way in the past, which really threw me, because honestly, I did not have time to watch trailers for this one right off the bat. So I pulled a Veronica. I didn't watch a trailer, but I knew Katie Holmes was.
Isn't it better? Isn't it better that way? You don't know what.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I didn't. But so I knew Katie Holmes was in it, right? Katie Holmes, for those of you.
I didn't even know that.
Millennial people like me, we all know who Katie Holmes is. Dawson's Creek, child of the 90s.
Former Mrs. Tom Cruise.
Yes, that's right. Former Mrs. Tom Cruise. She's in this movie, right? I knew that much. And so then when we start this movie and it's looking like a period piece, I wrote in my notes, it's like, Katie Holmes doesn't do period pieces. Like, I've never seen that woman once in a period film. I don't think she makes them. She's always in a modern day film. So anyway, I was just like really thrown. I was like, what is this? But it sets up where it's just, we are at the Blackwood Estate, home of Emerson Blackwood, which is such a great name. I legit went Googling to see if it was a real person in history because his backstory is so convincing and the name sounds like a name you've heard before that I was like, is this a real person? Emerson Blackwood. And he owns this estate. We open on like this, one of his maid doing something in the house, dusting this beautiful library. I thought of you. It was like, oh, look at this beautiful library. And then she hears the bell summoning her to go deal with her lord and master, whatever. So she goes down this dank looking basement where this man is lurking, and he's like, come closer, it's okay, don't worry. She comes down the stairs. She doesn't see a tripwire has been set, and she trips and falls. We see him sort of readying his hammer and what have you, chisel, apologizing to her, saying, I'm so sorry, it has to be this way, I have to do this. And he like opens his mouth, and we can see he has taken out all of his teeth, and he's proceeding to do that to her as well. So he knocks out her teeth. Honestly, I don't understand how that works, because it's like, wouldn't you swallow your teeth? Like she's laying on her back. Wouldn't she just swallow them? How do you get them out? But anyway, we come to find out that he is taking out his teeth and taking out her teeth because he's trying to feed them to some creatures that lurk there in the basement in like
a furnace thing?
A furnace-y door. A furnace door. Let's call it that, a furnace door. And you hear voices, and they're just whispering to him. I don't know what they're saying, but we do get from him that what he's wanting is like he's desperate to get his son back. Whoever they are, they've taken his son. All too soon, the creatures, which we never see, decide that this offering isn't enough. They snatch him and drag him down into the furnace door, and he disappears, and we never see him again. So then, we open up to modern day. This young girl, Sally, has come to live with her father and his girlfriend. Father is an architect, girlfriend's an interior designer, and they're restoring this beautiful, beautiful mansion.
Where is this mansion? Did it say where this was set?
So probably somewhere on the East Coast. I believe where they filmed this was Australia. So this might be a real, I got the vibe this is a real mansion in Australia. But I get the sense that this is somewhere on the East Coast, the Northeast Coast. So anyway, like, what did you think of that opening?
I mean, I enjoyed it. It certainly piqued my interest. I was covering the screen because I didn't want to see him knock out her teeth. Right. I don't know. So I don't know if how much of that they showed, but I didn't want to see it.
Yeah, I didn't. I did the same. Were you trying to make out, because there is text in the opening credits. There's like,
I tried pausing it, but it didn't pause well. So
there's opening. There's like
snippets.
It's like calligraphy style text in the opening credits. And it's just like, oh my God. And I was trying to read it, but then it was happening so fast. I was like, okay, I don't think we're meant to read it. When we see this beautiful, gorgeous house, immediately, not knowing what his job was, not knowing what Katie Holmes's job was, I was immediately like, how wealthy are these people? Like, what kind of generational wealth is this?
Turns out they're just house flippers.
Yeah. So that part of it reminded me a little bit of like the house
Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah. I was just like, man, I wish I could have that gig of restoring an old, but then maybe not.
Because it doesn't seem to work out well for the house flippers.
Any of the movies we've seen where someone has been restoring an old mansion, no good has come of it.
But like when the daughter, what was her name? Sally. When she gets there, she's obviously very sullen. And I'm thinking like, kid, look at this house. I'd be pumped if I was going to be living here in this house.
And we do learn that like it's a divorce situation where it's like she's being timeshared by her parents, I guess. So
she's not completely on board with her father having a girlfriend.
I like in the opening scenes of establishing this setting in this environment, I just remember her saying to Guy Pearce, her father, she's like, you said she was young. She's not young. And I was like, damn, that's harsh.
She's old.
That's harsh. Yeah. What else? Are there anything that jumped out to you in like those opening sections where we're seeing this house?
Apparently it was just that Blackwood dude and his son living there, and maybe whatever servants they have. It's like, my God, do you really need this huge space to live in?
Huge estate. And so then like this is part of what made me believe he was a real guy, is because once Sally arrives and Katie's her name's not Katie Holmes. Her name is Kim. Kim is trying to get to know this child. She's awkward and trying to just sort of have any kind of conversation and bonding connection. Yeah. She's explaining who Emerson Blackwood was. He was a wildlife painter or something. Yeah.
Similar to Audubon.
Painted all of these great masterpieces and was just really influential. And in
Kim's, be a lot of money in that.
I know, right? I'm like, dang. There was a part of me was like, and then what? His paintings were turned into wallpaper? Like, how was it inspiring to her as an interior designer? But I guess she was just inspired by his artistry. That was another moment of once we learn who these people are, and she's like, I'm an interior designer. I wish I had that bone in my body. I don't. I have no skill set for piecing things together. So that's why I know I would never be valuable on a home restoration project, because it's like, what can I don't know how to put a home in together with colors and patterns. But yeah, I was thinking, I was like, dang, I wish I could have that gig. That's a cool gig, minus the creepy crap. Okay, so important to note, this was one note that I wanted to have. So in the original, guys, if you've seen the 1973 original, there is a husband and there's a wife, and they move into this place. And the experiences in that film are being had by the wife. So there is no child character. And that wife is named Kim.
Sally.
No, Sally. That's right. The dude is very dismissive, almost kind of gaslighting her into believing that this is all in your head. You need to chill out. And so almost to the point where it's like the more throughout the course of the made-for-TV movie, she's kind of driven mad by these creatures because she doesn't know it's real anymore. And she's an adult woman who's just like, nobody will believe me. In this reboot, the things that we read that we've linked for you guys talk about, if you look at that 1973 film, it doesn't age well. It's a little bit misogynistic because I guess like at some points he tells her, Sally, his wife, why don't you go have a drink? Well, you need to chill out. Just very dismissive. And so they were thinking, okay, it might be a lot more plausible if we reboot this in a way where we have a child character, because as sad as this is, a child's fears would be, you could easily dismiss that as like, this is just a wild imagination at work. This is all in their head. They're just being silly and acting out. And so it's a lot easier to dismiss a child without consequence, I suppose, than it is to dismiss an adult woman. Plus, like I said, in the original, the wife figure does get taken. So, I mean, that element stays true, maybe in some sense of wanting to end things on somewhat of a hopeful note. They create this child character who, spoiler alert, does make it out. But yeah, just wanted to clue that into people, is like there is a deviation from the original in that the child character, like you said, doesn't exist. What was Guy Pearce's character's name? We'll just call him Dad.
Remember.
Did you want to say anything about him as a character?
I thought overall he was a good dad. I don't think entirely that he was necessarily dismissing his daughter's fears, because like, who's going to think that she's actually, when Kim's parts of her wardrobe are suddenly ripped to shreds, I mean, it's just natural to think that the daughter, who has made it clear she's not a fan of Kim's in the beginning and she doesn't even want to be there, would do that. So I thought that was just natural. And even at that, in terms of anger, like he wasn't like overly strict. I mean, I thought he was a good dad overall, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I thought he was a decent father, and he didn't come around as fast as Kim did. Kim seemed a little more perceptive, like in that scene where she said, that's not, what did she say? She said that's fear.
Yeah, that's not anger, that's fear.
That's fear. Yeah. So I think Kim clued in a little more to what Sally was going through, and then there's something there. But I think overall he was a decent dad, decent boyfriend to the girl, to Kim. So yeah, a good chap.
Yeah. So it's not long before, while Sally's there, I don't know if she starts to hear the whispering voices, or if she just stumbles upon the window.
She's exploring the grounds and
she finds the window to the basement, and she's like, there's something here. And sure enough, they go and they discover this floor that they didn't know anything about, because it had been, the door to it had been walled up. Beautiful door, by the way. The door to the basement. Gorgeous.
And the caretaker is like initially denying that there is even a basement there. It's like, there's no basement.
And come to find out, the caretaker knows what's up.
They should, and yes, and again, people should share information that they have.
People should disclose information, especially when a child comes on the scene, and you know that a child should not be on the scene. So they uncover this basement, and so it's at that point that Sally just starts to get really curious about this basement. She starts to hear these whisperings. And I will say this, I did honestly wonder how they were going to do this, because how they were going to work out the reveal of these creatures, because you start to see them. You hear, it's just voices at first. which is also true to the original. It's just voices you're hearing, whisperings. And you're like, what the hell? All these different scenes where you're like, there's whispering. They're talking to each other, not necessarily always to Sally, but to each other. And you're like, what is this? And then you start to see the creatures moving in shadow throughout the film. And I did start to wonder, how are they going to do this and make this scary? Because I thought they were just cute. Like, I thought they were really cute. Like, the more I kept seeing them moving in shadow, I'm like, oh, were you freaked out by, like...
I mean, I wouldn't classify them as cute.
They were cute. I know that they're like wielding switchblades and razors and stuff, but they were so cute. The first instance where I think we truly see them is when they attack Harris, the groundskeeper. So, which is brutal because they are wielding scissors and razors and kinds of rusted
There's a lot of them.
There's a bunch of them. It's like if you can imagine deformed rats, hairless rats.
See, not cute.
Well, but they still are. You know what? If I had a model, whatever these things are from the movie here on my desk, I would be. It would be my prized possession.
I'm sure. They look like roadkill, like 5 days after it's been run over.
I mean, I guess
all desiccated.
Based on what we learn of them through the movie, I refer to them in my notes as demonic fae. The demonic fae.
Definitely not what our traditional imaginings of fairy folk would look like, because they're always depicted as beautiful, and these were not.
And these are critters. And so anyway, we see them attacking him, but we never really get a close look. And then I think the first instance, which was a jump scare for me, Ron, and I'm curious to know if it was for you too, the first instance of where we get like a close up on their face is when Sally is in her bedroom and they're in there messing with stuff, knocking over her beautiful carousel nightlight. And she's in the dark with her little flashlight under her covers, and she accidentally shines a light on the face of one of them. And it's just like, it's like screams at her. I jumped and I was like, which was effectively done, because I was up to that point thinking, I'm not going to be afraid of this. This is not scary.
I don't know that I jumped for that part.
I jumped enough that the dog was like, no, and she left the room.
Here's what I will say about Sally at this point in the movie, because these little fae folk things, creatures, they're running amok because she went and unscrewed the plate on the furnace door because it had been like screwed shut for a reason. And she went and unscrewed it because, she's hearing all these whisperings, which sound creepy. So I'm thinking, this child has like the survival instinct of a cantaloupe.
It's like, what do you think it is? Like, what do you think it is? Like, there are animals that talk. So are you thinking it's
creepy sounding whispers? Yeah,
a person lurking in an ash cellar? Like, not
There's a plate of teeth in there that are still left there from when Blackwood put them there.
That's right.
Human teeth.
She finds teeth. And it's very interesting because
she's not dissuaded by any of it.
There are, so like we said, we refer to them as demonic fae. We do come to learn a little bit of the backstory of them, so there's reason for us to think that. And with the teeth, which are supposed to be given as an offering to these creatures, it does kind of
eat them.
What did you say?
Eat them. They're supposed to eat them. Like eat blood and teeth and bones.
There are resources online that reference that apparently Del Toro, in addition to being obsessed with this movie, also has a weird fixation with the tooth fairy. And so ultimately, these things with their collection of children's teeth, you could kind of liken them to like demonic tooth fairies. They come and they steal the teeth of children and drag you to the netherworld.
Yeah, so she set them free. They're running amok. But at this point, Sally has realized appropriately, I feel, that these are not friends.
These are not good people.
These are not good people. Yes.
Yeah. And they've attacked Harris. He didn't die, thankfully. He's like in critical condition in the hospital. And she's just like, I don't know what I've unleashed here. These are not good people. Jumping around a little bit, her dad is just fixated on like, guys, I understand all of this is happening, but I've got so much money wrapped up in this place. I have to turn a profit or we are going to be underwater. And so he's fixated on that. And meanwhile, Kim, the mother figure, the girlfriend, is becoming increasingly concerned and sort of attuned to Sally's fears, wondering what's up. She talks to Harris, tries to get the truth out of him. And this is where we come to reveal that, Harris knew from the jump that it's like there was crap here. I forget why. His grandfather or great-grandfather?
Yeah, it sounds like his because that's kind of how, I mean, at least in England, you might have the butler or the groundskeeper who served a family on the manor for like their entire life, and then that position passed on to a son and then a grandson and blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure that the grandfather or maybe the great-grandfather was there in Blackwood's time and maybe didn't know exactly what happened, but knew enough to know that the basement should have been just walled off and hidden.
And that it just wasn't safe. Maybe knew about the son in the first place versus like you get the impression when Kim goes to, from that conversation with Harris, he directs her to go to the library, ask for such and such archival number.
Yeah. Lot something.
And learn more. And so she goes to the library, she does that. And the librarian there gives her the lot and also just gives her all of the backstory on everything. She learns that Emerson Blackwood had a son. I don't think that was public knowledge, I guess, because she didn't have any idea. And so you learn the lore behind these fae of the netherworld. And you also get the sense that he's like, have you found the mural? And she's like, what mural? And so you're just like, what is the mural? And he describes what the lore is.
This is where I would have wanted a little bit more for it to be clarified, because it wasn't clear to me what the lore is. I mean, I got that every so however many years, not even sure, they have to take a life for a life, but that didn't really make sense to me.
They come above ground, essentially.
I don't know why. And like,
yeah,
I like that whole part of it was a little nebulous. Like it didn't quite make sense.
Yeah, I might have to go back and watch it because like he may have explained that some deal was struck. I don't know. Honestly, like full disclosure, I wasn't fully clued in and paying attention until he'd been talking for a bit. And then I was like, oh crap, I should be paying attention because there's some.
Well, I was paying attention and I just saw this last night. So,
okay. So it's fresh. Like, I saw this like 2 days ago.
But what? So. I was like, but what? Somebody in the past made a deal with the Fae folk, but I don't know what really, it didn't make sense.
Yeah. All we know is that they're ancient. These Fae, they are of the ancient world, ancient netherworld. And it is worth noting, guys, that is new to the story. That's not part of the original. Evidently, in the 1973 TV movie, it was never really given too much of a backstory on who these creatures were or why they did what they did. So this is all the workings of Del Toro here, is him giving them this lore, which I appreciate. But yeah, you almost want a little bit more of it just to understand it better.
In that lot of art, it was artwork by Blackwood that showed what these little fairy folk look like. I guess his family descendants, whoever took over his estate, gave them to the library with the understanding that they would never be displayed. Like it was like hush hush, don't show them.
And maybe because they thought these are the workings of a madman, we want to protect his legacy, so let's lock that away. And
yeah, because obviously Blackwood just disappeared for all intents and purposes, and he was never found. His son was never found, so nobody ever knows what became of them.
You could kind of see his surviving family being like, no, we're just going to bury that secret, that painful past, and be done with that. There were times, and I already alluded to this, but because of how cute I thought they were, and then because of the centering of this child, there were a lot of times throughout the watching of this movie where I felt like, you take out a few disturbing elements and you could have yourself a great, fresh kids dark fantasy movie that the kids could watch. There's Harris getting attacked. There's Blackwood taking out his own teeth in the maids. And then there's ultimately what happens to Kim at the end, where it's like, if you were to take those out or maybe rewrite those so that they're not quite so horrific, you have yourself a kids movie. It was hard to feel scared.
I don't know, man. In the 80s, that would have been the kids' movie. Like, I remember seeing stuff as a kid that I'm like, wow, we watched that as kids.
This is very true. Did you ever see, Ron? And I meant to watch it. It's on Disney Plus, and I really want to watch it because it's a dark fantasy movie from the 80s.
Dark Crystal?
No, not Dark Crystal. But I want the kids to watch that one too. Dark fantasy movie of the 80s. This one's obscure. Like this one it was not as popular as those. Hold on. We interrupt this broadcast. Oh, here it is. Did you ever see Something Wicked This Way Comes?
Long time ago. It's also a book.
Okay, but came out in 1983. I kind of want to watch. I kind of want the kids to watch it. I've not seen it.
By the pricking of my thumbs.
Well, I know that, I know the text, but like I didn't know there was a movies of a 1980s movie. So anyway, yeah, you're absolutely right. The movies of the 80s were cray-cray. So let's see. Anything else that you wanted to mention?
Well, they start to escalate because, after Kim sees that artwork and she goes back to the house and then she finds the mural, which is disturbing. And then she finds drawings that Sally has made, because Sally's very artistic herself. And she drew one of the little fey creatures that remarkably resembles stuff that Blackwood had in his painting. So now she knows, okay, this is real.
This is real. Meanwhile, her father is bringing all of these people together for a dinner party at the residence because he's desperately trying to land the cover story of Architectural Digest or some magazine like that. It's necessary to him being able to get the funds to complete this project and get his business back up and running. So all of this is happening. Katie Holmes, has it in her mind, rightfully so, that, hey, regardless of whether or not any of this is real, she believes she's in danger. Harris told her she's in danger. Get her out of there. And so Katie's like, the money and your business and all this crap is not worth it. We need to get her out. And he's just like, I can't deal with this right now. Let's get through this dinner party and then we can talk about all of this. And so while Katie is upstairs packing for all of this to go down, the evil demon gremlins, they corner Sally in the beautiful library and just start destroying it, which made me sad. They're just knocking crap down. They have to try to break into the library because they start hearing the screams of Sally, who's being viciously attacked by these critters. And she's desperately trying to take pictures of them with her Polaroid camera to try to capture proof of what's happening. Finally, when he breaks through, he sees the fear in her eyes and realizes that this is real. I think this is very much them trying to stick to the original source material with how Sally in that movie, the wife, is being driven to madness by these creatures. And so this is that little girl who's just becoming more and more unmoored because nobody will believe her. And she's like, I got a picture. And in that moment, I think you see a real sense of awareness and acceptance in Guy Pearce's face because he recognizes my little girl is terrified and I need to step up and
also the damage to that library.
And the damage to the library.
Is more than a little girl could do by herself.
So he's like, everyone get out. We're done. And so they start preparing to leave. And then that's when it all goes down. That's when it all goes down. Late. Because these tricksters, I kept writing in my notes. I was writing it in from Lord of the Rings. Gollum. I was writing it in Gollum's voice. These tricksy hobbitses. Because they're tricky. They're tricksy and they're fast. These little gremlins, they're fast. They shut off the power to the entire mansion. They start switching up the wiring in his car so that his car won't turn on or whatever. I don't know. He's trying to open up the garage door to get the car out. They close it.
Well, because it's filling with carbon monoxide is what I got.
Yeah, they knock him out, first of all, and then they're
trying to kill him.
And they do to Katie Holmes exactly what they did to that maid, where she's coming down the stairs to try to figure out where they've dragged Sally off to, and they've set a tripwire that she doesn't see, and she trips and stumbles. And at that point, that's when we really see these creatures come out slowly talking to her. And they say something over and over. We must take a life. I forget what they say. They explain to her, it's like, we must take a life.
Which again, I don't understand why. I don't understand why.
Again, they just think they're so cute. Right up until the very end, I'm like, they're so cute. Who can fear them? Who? What were your thoughts about the ending? Everything that happens.
Honestly, I thought the whole family was going to get out. So
I really thought that too. And I thought because it just feels so much like a kid's movie, surely they all survive and they all make it out. Yeah.
They don't, Kim. And I the point where I kind of thought, oh, this doesn't bode well is when she's trying to saw through or cut through the rope to set Sally free. And she's like, when I cut this, you run. And I'm thinking, oh God. Yeah. So that was my first thinking that maybe it's not going to be a totally happy ending.
While that's happening, Guy Pearce does come to, and he does manage to get out of that garage before the carbon monoxide takes hold. So he's trying to get to them. But yeah, she's trying to cut Sally free because they're trying to drag Sally through that furnace door down into the netherworld because that's whatever trade they have to make. They have to take a life. For whatever reason, you hear Kim say that to Sally, when I cut this, you run, and you're like, oh, crap. As soon as Sally gets free, the rope tightens around Kim and they drag Kim to the furnace. I did not enjoy seeing that. I did not enjoy watching her legs snap. I was like, leave it to Guillermo del Toro to get one more like ick factor scare in, and they drag her down into the netherworld. Now, what did you make of like the ending after that?
The dad character, Guy Pearce, makes it down there in time to see her get sucked down. Sally is obviously scared. Oh. She's traumatized. She's horrified, and he's comforting her. And then we kind of cut to later. They're driving back to this house that he was restoring that apparently is now in foreclosure. So he lost whatever money.
Yeah, and some time has passed. Yeah.
They go inside and he tells her they just get in a little bit past the door and he tells her that's far enough, Sally. And she lays down a picture that she drew of her and Kim, like by a tree. And she says, I love you, Kim. And she puts it down. They leave. And then that paper mysteriously blows its way down into the basement and into the grate of the furnace. And we hear Kim's voice in a whisper, but it's very much like the Fae folk now, where she's saying, what is she saying? Like, they're saying, we'll be forgotten or blah, blah. And she'll say, no, enough time will pass. They'll forget. Someone will come, basically. So,
well, she's saying, we'll dig deeper. Basically, and this is where I wasn't sure if you picked this up, but basically she's become one of them. Mm-hmm. She's become one of the Fae.
And there was also, I was going to ask, earlier in the movie, there's a point, I forget where in the movie, but we see a Fae creature with a smaller Fae creature. And I thought, just by the facial construction, I was like, is that Blackwood with his son?
That's what I was like. Once I realized, she becomes one of them, which made me sad. I'm like, damn it. Yeah. But then I was thinking, I need to go back and watch to see if any of those faces resembled Blackwood, because, yeah.
I think that was. So I think that's what it was. Like,
but that makes me sad that she
just somehow
became one of the dark Fae.
Yeah, but she took the picture, so maybe there's a part of her that remembers some form of fact. But yeah, it's a sad, bittersweet ending.
It's not great.
But again, they're just going to let this house be sold, and the next occupant is like going to not have any idea.
Right. I'm just like,
what's happening in the basement.
But she basically tells him, Katie Holmes to the Fae, she's like, we'll dig deeper. We can wait. We've got time. We've got all the time in the world. This is exactly kind of essentially the message of the 1973 film. Like, we've got all the time in the world. We'll wait. There will be more victims. We'll find them.
Yeah, because nobody tells anybody anything.
Yeah, because nobody relays pertinent information.
It's like, well, you want to buy this house?
Yeah, so that's what was sad for me. Like, I was real dissatisfied with the fact that Kim didn't make it out alive. I guess I appreciate that in the reboot, they invented the child character to be like, someone does make it out. Yes, the woman goes, but she saved the child. And because I wasn't necessarily quite as sympathetic to the dad figure, I was sort of like, get your head out of your butt and pay attention to your daughter. I did appreciate that in the end. I do credit Kim with getting him to turn the corner and be like, you need to start taking your daughter seriously. So if anything can come out of her death or whatever, her snatching, she saved the girl. And she got the man to stand up and be the dad she knew he could be. But it was still just sad. It was good. It was good. Where would you rate this on the light switch scale?
I mean, I didn't think it was scary. It was just kind of a gothic, dark fairy tale turned upside down.
Yeah, I mean, so like, full disclosure, I didn't watch this at night, guys, because I couldn't. I watched this Saturday morning, bright and early. I wasn't scared. And because I've never been one to be afraid of the dark, I don't think that I would be scared watching this for the first time at night. So I think you're probably fine to watch it at night. I was so this week we've got youngest sharing a bedroom with middle kid. And so I did tell little one, because it was his first night in a new room to him. And I did tell him exactly what I hear Veronica tell children in our family, or in the past, what she's told children in our family. You don't need to be afraid. There's nothing here in the dark that isn't also here in the day. So I told her
in the light. Get it right.
Okay, whatever. In the light.
Now you messed it up.
Wait, what is it? What do you tell them?
There's nothing here in the dark that isn't here in the light.
Okay. Well, whatever. The general idea, he got it. So yeah, I told him that. I thought of you because I was like, that's Veronica's thing. She says that. Anything else to say about it? Would you rewatch it?
It was
Is it a rewatch?
I would rewatch it. It was a nice surprise because like I was texting Valerie, like I don't really feel like watching horror movies in December, but this was good and I liked it. See, this is more in the vein of spooky that I enjoy, and maybe it's just Guillermo del Toro. I don't know, but yeah.
If you haven't seen this one, give it a watch. Definitely worth a watch and probably a rewatch. I enjoyed it a bunch, so I'm glad I finally got to see this one. Ron, is there anything else you have taken in, read, or listened to, or watched that you want to recommend to people? I have at least 2 things.
I haven't really had time. I mean, we're watching Stranger Things, an episode here and there at a time. But other than that, I mean, I didn't even have time to watch any Christmas movies. So
Stranger Things for sure. If you guys haven't seen it, husband and I did watch the Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out 3 mystery on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Go and watch that one, guys. I loved 2. I'm sorry. I loved the first one. I liked the second one. And this third one feels kind of like a return to form of the first one. So I really enjoyed it. You never saw the first one?
I saw the first one, just haven't seen the second one.
Yeah, the second one's good too, but it's just I really just appreciate a good gothic. There's gothic setting here with this third one, and I really just that's my vibe. I like that. So versus the second one, it takes. Well, I won't tell you because you haven't seen it, so never mind. I'm gonna be quiet. The other thing I wanted to recommend to people, I have started listening to this podcast, and I'm only a few episodes into it, but it is a podcast produced by. It's a Canadian. Where is it? Hold on. It's a Canadian podcast produced by CBC True Crime Premium. And the show is The Devil You Know. It's basically a podcast that's all about, it's a true crime situation where it's talking about the satanic panic of the 80s and early 90s. So kind of just sort of how it started and what happened during the time period of that where, you just had news media and culture just sort of going after teenage kids and stuff who were just goth, different, played D&D, all of that stuff.
Rock and roll.
And some of the actual incidences that happened during that time period and how kids were just being targeted and a lot of times wrongly so. So it's just been an interesting podcast. I think I'm on episode 6 or episode 7 now. So go and give it a look. I'm holding it up. The Devil You Know. So it's good. It's a weekly series and it's been a really good podcast. So
I did read some, I don't know, for some reason, like Christmas always puts me in the mind for like cozy murder mysteries.
Yeah.
Because nothing says Christmas like murder. But one of the books that I read was Agatha Christie, what's it called? Hercule Christmas or something. But anyway, Hercule Poirot is the detective in the story. And so now I'm resolved to like start at the beginning of the Hercule Poirot mysteries and like read them through.
Well, and if you're looking for more cozy murder stuff, I didn't read the Thursday Murder Club books, and I know you have one, but I did.
The first one.
I did watch that Netflix movie, and I really liked it. It was really, really fun.
I can't decide if I want to read the book first and then watch the show, or vice versa.
Having nothing to compare it to, I thought the movie was great, and the casting's great.
The other thing I watched, and this was on Acorn, so I don't know how widely available it is, but it's a British cozy mystery. It's called A Murder Before Evensong. So it's set like a little English village and with all the little quaint English characters you would find in a quaint English village. And it was fun.
Just last night, we were talking about Oldest and whether or not it was time to introduce him to any Sherlock Holmes books. I mean, I figure he can probably handle it. He's read Lord of the Rings multiple times, all 3 books multiple times. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I figure he's got to be ready for Sherlock Holmes. Just sort of get him into British detective mysteries. The only other thing to mention, you guys, this is our last episode before book club episode. Our next episode in January will be book club. We are reading Children of Chicago by Cynthia Pelayo. I have started the book.
I bought it.
I'm sad. I bought an ebook, which is not my
Barnes and Noble.
Well, but I haven't been out since the Christmas holiday. I just haven't gotten out. So, and it was getting down to the wire. I need to get it started. So I just bought it on ebook, which is not my favorite format, but I have been reading it. And because I am enjoying it. I will say that much thus far. I will note this. I am not having as much trouble reading it as I would any other book on ebook. Normally I drag my feet reading ebooks because it's hard to pull me in. But I am enjoying this book so far, so I am having no problem keeping with it. That is good. Yeah. That's it. Do you have anything else to say, Ron?
No.
Because
I guess by the time we talk to people, it'll be 2026. So just wishing everybody, wherever you are in the world, a peaceful end to your 2025 and an auspicious start for 2026.
Yes. God bless us, everyone. Okay, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Don't Watch at Night is a Nest production. Executive producers are Veronica and me. Editing by me. Music by Omar Chakor. Special thanks to Lorenzo Villarreal and Alex Street for production support for this episode. Listen to new episodes every other Monday, and if you like our show, give us a rate and review. It is the best way to help us grow.